Hi, everyone. Welcome to College Financial Preps episode today on preparing for college. We're welcoming Dale Morgan from Foundation47. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning, Vicky. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. You want to give everyone a little bit of background on Foundation47?
Yes. Vicky, Foundation 47 is my a company that I started uh, basically to help individuals become very versed with their personal finances. As I was coming up as a young kid, I was financially illiterate, and it cost me very tremendously financially over the course of my life. And I always reflected back when I was making all these mistakes in my life, and I always wondered about why I was never taught certain things about personal finances. Something as simple as a budget, or even in my time, something simple as balancing a checkbook, which I didn't know how to do when I graduated high school. So I just decided maybe I could go back and reach back and teach individuals those things that I know that have hindered some of my success, my first and some of my personal financial gains. And so I just figured I could go back and teach individuals some of those concepts to help them so they don't make the same mistakes that I did.
Right. Well, today, right, you're an accountant.
Oh, yes.
You're,
So by day, I'm an accountant. I'm an accountant, and I work in the accounting and finance department for the city of Lexington. I have previous experience working as an accountant at Purdue University, and the University of Kentucky. And my degree is from in accounting from Eastern Kentucky University as well. And I have over about 13 to 14 years in accounting and finance experience.
See, what I love about this is that you and I, we're both passionate about financial literacy, about people understanding their money, being able to
Right,
save money. But I love that we have two different whys.
right, right, yeah,
Why we do what we do.
right, yeah. Hey, and sometimes that's all you need. That brings even more together, for things. So.
So definitely. Tell everyone about, how it was for you when you were growing up, going to college, what your background, what your why is.
So one of the things, Vicky, that so when I initially went to college, so I got two different stints with college, right? So when I initially went to college, I went to college at the University of Louisville, and I was on somewhat of a partial scholarship there, and where they would actually pay for some of my tuition, got paid for it, and I had to come up with the rest of it. But so I wound up leaving the University of Louisville, and I just kind of came home for various reasons, and I came home and I just started working and things of that nature. But I some of the obstacles that I dealt with was that obviously paying for college, right? Actually, that's the biggest obstacle because once you get out of K through 12, it's not free anymore, so, or at the taxpayer's expense, so to speak. Uh, so it's one of those things for some of us, myself included. It was like can make college unattainable. It's not something that you even think or even plan about because and even in today's realm, the college costs are getting astronomical, and trying to figure out a way to pay for those can be very challenging. There are a lot of options out there, some predatory options as well. So trying to just wade through those kind of things can be very difficult for people nowadays.
Definitely. So tell us about what you had to do to put yourself through college. What are some strategies, some tactics maybe our listeners can use? And I know you said not only for yourself, but also, things that you brought through for even your daughters and planning for
Yeah,
college.
yeah. So one of the things that I wish I would have known more about early on in life was to actually get a job that actually offered tuition reimbursement programs, right? So after I initially left college, I wound up getting a job in a manufacturing environment. And after about 4 or 5 or 6 years on that job, I actually went into the employee handbook and I came across, yes, I actually read the employee handbook after 4 or 5 years of being there. And I read up on this tuition reimbursement program they had. And I immediately wanted to know more about it. And I contacted HR, went up to the HR department, and they kind of explained to me how the tuition reimbursement program worked. Uh, you pay for your college cost up front, and then depending on what grade you got, determine on what percentage of your college expenses you got back. So for example, if you got an A, you got 100% back. A B, you got 90. A C, you got 80. Anything less than a C, they wouldn't give you anything back. So I started utilizing this program, And that first semester when I went back to school, I wound up taking two classes. I had like again initially I had to pay for my books and my tuition, and when I got the grades at the end of the semester, I turned in my grades, and I was able to get reimbursed. But what I did, and I got what I did is I recycled that money each semester, because I kind of took two or three classes every semester, and I was lucky and fortunate enough that I got kept an A or B average, so I was always getting majority of my money back. So that next semester, when I took up the next classes, I would get that check from the company, and I would take that check immediately, and I would pay my tuition for the following semester, for the upcoming semester. So that's something that I utilized. It was a great benefit to me.
That's fabulous. I know today, I mean, the way it is, because costs are so expensive, in the
Yeah,
main, parents are helping and taking out the loans, and
yeah, co-signing
you
and
know,
things.
what you're saying is so true. I mean, there are ways for the kids to help.
Yeah, definitely there's ways for the kids to help. And one other things too that I have a daughter who's currently in college now, and one of the things that I did as a parent for her coming along. So and people always look at me funny when I give this example, but they're like, "Oh, I never thought about that." But what I'm going to say here is, so for say like for birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that, right? A lot of us, and I fell victim to this in a lot of in my community, we always run out and we would spend four or five, six, $700 on kids for Christmas toys and stuff like that. And being being an individual who grew up on the bottom side, the bottom half of the Gini coefficient, and I understood that, and I got used to not getting things on my birthday. Like on my birthday, I didn't get gifts. I was lucky. I was fortunate, very fortunate. I like chocolate on chocolate cake, so my mom always picked me a chocolate cake with chocolate icing and chocolate ice cream, and that was sufficed enough for me, you know. And so one of the things I did for my daughter, and I still bought my daughter gifts, or maybe just one or two gifts, and I didn't go way on the deep end, spending a eight, $900, $1,000. But what I would do is say like for Christmas, I would take $300 and I would buy a savings bond for 300, about a $300 savings bond, and then those varies on the time frame about when they mature. You can, put those in and whatnot. And then when it came time to pay for college, we could go cash in some of those savings bonds and help, it help. And it wasn't an astronomical amount, but it was enough to help it pay for the books one semester, kind of thing. And anything to kind of help her along, to kind of mitigate some stress off of her was great for me.
Right. Anyway, from ages 0 to 18, anything parents can do to save.
Right, right,
I mean, I'm not an investment advisor, but
right,
there are
right.
529 plans. But really, even if you're saving money, and not that I recommend putting it under your mattress, but any way you can to save money, is great
Right,
to help
right,
the kids.
right. And also too, I had a 529 plan. That was another thing that I did too, Vicky, was when my daughter was born, about 6 months later, and I kind of stumbled onto this with my State Farm insurance agent, because I got my plan through State Farm, which I had my life insurance as well as my homeowner's insurance. And he kind of got wind that I had just had a daughter, and he was like, "Man, you had a daughter. How you gonna pay for college?" And I hadn't even thought about it at the time. She was only 6 months old, and he was thinking, "You on a 529 plan," and I didn't even know what it was at the time. And he kind of, brought me up to speed on what it was. He said, "I said, well, I don't know if I can really afford that." I said, I haven't budgeted for that." He was just like, "Oh, you can start out paying $25, $50 a month, however you want to do it." And he said, "Well, just to get me started, how about we get you $25 a month just to get you started? And over the course of time, I up that to say $50." And I would say, "Well, I'm feeling, I got a raise this year." And that was another thing I did too. When I got raises at my job, I didn't start spending more. I actually upped the percentage that I put into my daughter's 529 plan.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So what are plans now for the future? How are you helping, kids and families and
I would say what my company and what my Foundation 47, what I do now is I get people just thinking about it, just thinking about that cost of college, because sometimes we always like to put, "Oh, that's so far away, I got time." It's kind of like when your retirement account, where people don't want to start putting into their 401k. I get into the first thing I do when I sit down and I talk with families and individuals is that we sit down. It's something simple as we get in an Excel spreadsheet, and we actually get together and write out a budget. I show people how to use Excel formulas to just manage your monthly costs and budgets for your expenses, so you can actually see where your money is going, and then that can determine what you're able to save, and what you're able to invest, and what you're able to put aside, even for your college expenses.
Right.
Even
But you also work with much younger families, right?
Yeah, I'm working with high school students, junior high students as well. And the key with them, if you can get them to be receptive, if you can get them to be receptive to the message you're trying to get them to really fully understand the message you're trying to convey to them, right? Because I've been young, and when my dad used to try to tell me certain things about saving money, I'm like, oh, I got plenty of time for that. So if you can change their mind about not keep wanting to put it off. That's the key thing. And there's been eye-opening moments I've had with individuals, young individuals who are in junior high and high school. And once I show them, say, the power of compound interest, and they see what they call it as, I want to make money while I'm sleeping. You know, you get what I'm saying? Once I show, and I was this way too. Show me how this can benefit me. And once you once I show them how it can benefit them, and you can see the results, then they're more apt to follow along with it.
Definitely. I mean, I know a lot of the kids, don't like math, but once they see math applied to real life, I mean,
Right.
whether it's percentages and, saving on the cost of something, or, compound interest, different
Right.
ways, all of a sudden they have a different interest.
And
So
and, that,
parents, if you're listening, to help teach the kids at home.
and Vicky, that is definitely true. I'll give you another example. So I was in a mall shop. This was been years ago, and they were advertising these specific items as 30% off cost, right? So I'm going up, and I was one. I used to be, again. I was one of those individuals who, if they say this is 30, if they say this list price is 30% off what the original price, I just went with that. It wasn't until a couple of weeks later who I ran across one of my math teachers, and he actually showed me. I told him I just bought these new shoes, and they were 30% off. I said, well, I told him what the original price was and what I paid, and they were not actually 30% off. They were actually 20% off.
Oh,
So that kind of woke me up to, say, advertising tricks and tactics, and what's that, false advertising kind of a thing. So actually, so in my curriculum, when I'm teaching kids, I
yeah,
actually show them.
20% off plus 10% off does not equal 30% off.
Right. And one of my things that I'm strategic, and I'm very to the point about, is I show individuals how to calculate percentages even with their money, the compound interest, and even if somebody says it's 20 or 30% off, I'm gonna show you how to really go back and check and see if it's really 20 or 30% off.
Right, and so important. I was just doing this weekend with some of the kids. We were in Target, and we were talking about the Target card, and you get 5% off. And I was giving them a math lesson. Okay, how much are you saving on those pair of pants? Because you're getting the, just every dollar helps, and you can put it into savings and saving for college.
And one of the things too, when you talk about, and all of these things that we're talking about, Vicky, can roll into, like you said, money that you could be putting aside into going into your college. I used to work in a retail environment when I was younger, like in high school and stuff. And one of the things that I learned was, so when they were bringing these clothes from the manufacturer, they already have this tag on that suggested manufacturer retail price, and that might be, let's say, $150 might be what the manufacturer suggests.
Right.
But the company, the dollar amount they will put on it, it was manufactured. The suggested price was 150, but the company will start out at 80 on the ticketed price. But when they will have these sales, they will take off that $80 sticker, and they will have the original 150, and they will say, well, it's 30% off the original price. So you would, in some cases, we were actually consumers were actually paying more than what they initially wanted for it.
Right.
So these are things that I try to bring our youth and our young people aware that, and these are areas that you can save money to help pay for those college expenses.
Definitely. All good lessons for both parents and students to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
If
it's
you
important to
can
pay
get them to listen, if you can get them to listen, it's a big thing.
Uh, Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to join us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Tell everyone where they can find you.
My company's based out of Lexington, Kentucky, but I have a website. It's www.foundation47 foundation47llc.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. And I'm on LinkedIn as well, Foundation 47. So I'm on all those social media platforms. If you want to reach out to me, I'll be more than happy to follow up with any follow-up questions and just get to know you a little better.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for being here. Glad we got a chance to speak today.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for reaching out. And I'm glad that you had me on today as well.
Take care, everyone. See you on the next episode. Bye.